Tim Walz, just to descend into the political for a second, what do you make of that pick? How's that going?
I was somewhat surprised
I was
by it. I didn't think
I would have bet money Shapiro was getting it.
Yeah, I thought until they kind of sent the signals over the last couple weeks that he was out, but I was assuming Mark Kelly was going to be the guy because he's from what I understood, they were friendly with Harris. He's got kind of this thing where like his wife was shot and he's an astronaut, and there is just something about that's like. Right. You kind of like can't help, but like it is an archetype of like of a guy who's appealing, and also because he's in Arizona.
Yeah.
So I just thought he was the obvious choice. The Shapiro thing, I think, evidently came down to him just being like too ambitious and kind of like Kamala Harris can't really have someone around her who's that. Right. You know what I mean? Like you just can't because she's so unimpressive.
He wasn't beta enough.
Yeah, well, that's right. And then I guess this guy fit that mold. I do. My initial impression, this is not somebody I knew much about until this last week. But my initial impression is that he's also very unimpressive. And that he's not particularly bright, and he does, at least as I mentioned, he does at least seem to understand that you got to try to talk about stuff that people actually care about, and he understands that we live in a populist moment, so he's trying to be kind of a populist or present himself that way. But I just think the thing is, I think it's totally fake and astroturfed, and the idea that we're supposed to pretend that he has, like it's, remember when they were like Beto O'Rourke has the it factor, like, it's just, so what are you talking about?
He was the best.
What world are you living in where you look at that guy and you go, man, just dripping with charisma, It's like, so they're doing that right now. Like and this is just totally anecdotal and I don't know what it means, but I've gotten like 30 text messages about donating to Democrats in the last 2 weeks, and I've never donated to. I donated to Tulsi Gabbard when she was running in 2019. It was because it was like the thing where you needed individual donations to make the debate stage, and I just wanted her on the debate stage. They're doing all types of maneuvering to give the impression that there's, enthusiasm and support for these guys, including things like having, I don't know, I'm out of touch and old now, but having like all these like rappers or whatever at her event. So you get a bunch of people who are like going to see, the rapper, and then you go, look at all these people coming to Kamala Harris's event. They have all of their like techniques that they use. I think it's fake. All of it.
Well, that Walz guy, I don't want to be too unfair because I don't know him and I don't have any hard evidence. He's a weirdo. That guy's weird.
He seems very strange.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
There's something not right about that guy's personal life. So I hope I'm wrong because I don't want people like that with power. But most people I know with power in Washington have personal lives that would not withstand scrutiny at all. But I think that. But I can't get past the core fact about Walz, which is he presided over, allowed the biggest city in the state to get burned down,
and seemed to not only allow it but kind of support it.
Did you see the video of his wife saying, "I kept the windows open so I could smell the burning rubber from the riots"?
I did not see that.
Wow, the wife whose hand he shook.
Oh my God! By the way, I know it's.
Let's be.
It's picking on a little thing, but who the hell shakes their wife's hand?
Well, Kamala Harris and her fake husband kissed each other with masks on. What? It's just so, I guess, look, I think I'm pretty libertarian on I am. I've been in TV my whole life. I know a lot of people with weird personal lives. I'm not a judger at all.
Yeah, sure.
However, if everybody in power has some sort of weird celibate, Mitch McConnell and his wife and Kamala Harris and her husband, this Tim Walz guy, like there's just no chance these are normal marriages at all. That's not good.
Yeah, and it's
bad.
And they were jumping on JD Vance for, I think it was with you. I think it was an old clip where he was just talking about like all these childless people making decisions for the country. And look, like I'm not again, I'm with you on that. I'm not like judging people. I don't think there are some people who shouldn't have kids. It's the best thing I've ever done. But I certainly think there are people who wouldn't make very good parents. There are people who are very bad parents who probably would have been.
Yeah, I'm not for mandatory childbearing.
Yes. but like, come on, there is something to be said for like, I kind of would like a lot of our leaders to like, yeah, just be in a marriage where they love their wife and they have some kids. I think it gives you some stakes that you really can't get any other way.
Exactly.
And yeah, there is no question. It is very, very bizarre people who seem to disproportionately rise to the top.
And it's so obvious that they're bizarre. I mean, I look at this Walz guy and I'm like, again, I don't know. I don't have a police report that I'm not sharing or something, but that guy, not babysitting my kids. Like, no way.
Yeah.
No way.
Which is what's so strange about them going with the line of J.D. Vance being weird. I understand they're in like a little bit of a pickle where they're like, okay, they have to find rhetoric. You know, Trump just got shot. So they have to kind of pull back on like the Nazi stuff because it's not really working. And also it's really hard to say you're not kind of, you know, it's really hard to be like, oh, the right wingers are inciting violence when they say fake news.
Yeah.
But like, we're not inciting violence when we say the democracy's on the line unless this guy's taken out, you know? But it's like weird. You're using the word weird. You're the party of freaks.
I know.
Like, what are you talking about?
I know.
How is weird gonna be a pejorative for you when you're literally sitting here going, you see that dude with a beard and a dress? That's a beautiful woman. And then you could call someone else weird? It's just so strange.
It is. Every accusation is an admission.
Right.
But I also think it's just, I don't want to go on too much, but I don't want to be mean, but it's interesting. I've always thought this was so strange, especially in the Democratic Party. You know, they're always telling you that, you know, gay is great. It's better to be gay. We love gays. We're celebrating Stonewall. Okay, fine. But then there's so many people in the Democratic Party who are closeted, including in, you know, positions of real power. I know them. I don't believe in outing people, and I'm not going to, but I know that for a fact. And it's like, on what grounds are you hiding it, actually? That's too much. I can't.
I also have absolutely nothing against gay people. I do have an issue with people living a lie.
Well, kind of, yeah.
Because there's something about, it's also not just lying, but living a lie is like it's a profound thing where you get used to every inch of your existence being a lie. The very nature of who you are is a lie. And that just obviously leads to like people who have the ability to totally lie about who they are.
Exactly.
That I do have an issue with.
Nicely put. And there's so much of it. I can't get over it. And I'm not saying that as like a blue nose or even as a judgment on the morality of it. But I mean, I just find it so striking. Like, how many people like that are there in Washington? It's wildly disproportionate. Wildly. Even compared to like San Francisco or some libertine place like that, or the West Village, there are freakier personal lives in DC. I just find that really, really telling. I don't know what it means exactly, but it has to do with lying. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.